All right, so with the moving of the trolling motor over to the side, I lost a pod light on that side, and that one's going away too. I've got these NiLights that I ordered from Amazon. I'm basically going to put it up like this, and then one on either side of it is going to go catty corner. I'll still have plenty of room over here for the trolling motor, but first I'm going to pull these plastic things off like this, and I'm going to silicone this entire seal just to double check to make sure it's waterproof. You guys are coming along. All right, that came out really good on the first bead, but then it just kind of freaking went everywhere. So I put this latex glove on just because I knew that that was going to eventually happen. And I'm just going to do this with all of the corners. And then once it dries, I'll just take and run a knife around the side or a razor blade and just kind of scrape up the excess just to keep it from going absolutely everywhere. But I've got a ton left on my fingers, so I'm going to use that on the rest of these. Just kind of push it in, and it's going to look like that right now, but I'll be able to really get it in there good. So there we go. Oh yeah. I probably don't even need to really clean it because these lights are so good, but I will just to make it look good. And I'm just using the Flex Seal Flex Caulk. It's an indoor-outdoor. The Flex Seal products have always been really good for me. So I like to use it when I can. I'm not really worried about making a giant mess because, like I said, once it dries, I'll be able to clear all that up. So once this does dry, we're going to lay it all out on the deck of the boat here and get kind of where I want to put it, because I've got to drill 4 more holes in the bow of this boat. I'm not excited about that, but I really don't see another way to mount these and be as secure as I want. So we're probably going to drill, probably 5 holes, because I'm going to have one for the wires to run through, because I've got a connection underneath this front panel here where I took out the previous lights or the pod lights. But we're gonna get to work as soon as this thing dries and I get it all cleaned up. So I'm working on the light positions, and I really want this one right here. It's gonna go at an angle with the front of the boat, mainly because there's already a hole there from the previous owner that had the trolling motor mounted there. So I had Mrs. BoatCat hold this right here, and I was trying to work the trolling motor. There was plenty of clearance even with this much of the bolt sticking out. So I'm gonna mount this one right here. I know I should start in the center, but I'm gonna start here. This is just, there's already a hole there. I'm just making it a little bit bigger, so it's not gonna be any worse than it already is. And we're gonna kind of base it off of that. I'm just gonna make it like a half of a, what is it? Hexagon. There it is. 6 sides. So I'm only running 3 sides, but I want to stay kind of in line with the boat. So once I get this hole drilled, I'll measure distance in from the front right here. and then I'll measure from the hole to the other side, and I can just make a really good measurement off of that. And then I can take the big one and put that right into the center of both of those, moving straight. So let's get to work. All right, sweet. The bolts that came with the NiLights, because there is some wood construction underneath this, are not long enough. So what I'm gonna have to do, I'm gonna have to make a run to the hardware store, and I'm gonna have to get another at least 1/2 inch, because it is, I mean, I can touch it, but that's about it. So we're gonna make a run to the hardware store before they close and get some more bolts. All right, so I went and got a longer bolt from the hardware store. That's the new one. This is the old one. We're gonna make sure that it'll fit through and I can actually thread it in. Oh yeah, we're gonna get this mounted right now. All right, so we had to get a little creative because the bolts that came with the NiLights on the mounts were not long enough, and then the only ones that I could find that were marine grade didn't fit necessarily into this slot. So as I started to tighten down the lock washer on the backside, it was spinning inside this lock. So what I had to do is I had to take the light off of the mount, which this is going to be the difficult part because the nut for that mount is just free floating in there. So I'm going to have to basically just rig it, but pretty good at meching stuff. So we're going to try and get this. I've got one done right now. This is going to be the deciding factor if I can get the rest of them done. So let's get it locked in. All right, so I got it. I was able to finagle the bolt back here. I'm not gonna tighten it all the way because I've still got the other two lights to hook up, and then I'm gonna angle them all tonight when the sun goes down. But I'm still able to move it. It's just, I've got to repeat this process at least 3 more times. So, all right, so I am smarter than I look. I have a small screwdriver that I was able to just wedge inside the front half or the bottom side of this light to keep that bolt from spinning inside of the housing. So I've got these two mounted. We're gonna measure it out for the big light bar, and I'm gonna slide these 2 bolts out to the side so I can use my screwdriver trick. We're gonna go from there. All right, so moving on to the electrical aspect of this, and this is probably the worst part, the part I hate the most. the wires aren't necessarily made to do what I'm going to do with it. I really want to do one hole coming off of the main light. So this right side of the boat, I'm going to splice in realistically right here, and then a couple inches up from that or downstream, I'm going to splice in the left light, and then I'm going to dump it down into another hole that I have here and just wire it into everything else. So I've got to cut a section of this jacket out, and then basically another section. I've got some wire connectors, some double ends, and I've got some heat shrink. So we're going to make this as waterproof as possible. I'll probably throw some electrical tape on it also, just to have that extra added layer of security, because I will be on the water with this. But we've got to do the worst part of this, which is the electrical part. So wish me luck. All right, so the BoatCat is wired with lights. I've got the main one in the center, and then I've got the two peanuts on the side. It was kind of a pain just because I had to triple wire everything in, but it all is run through this and then down into here, into my connection point, which is inside the hull. Everything works as it should. We're going to wait for it to get a little bit darker, and then I will light them up. I'll level out the boat and make sure it's going to be where it needs to be when I'm running down the river. It's not super dark out, but we're going to run these lights just to kind of get an idea. Oh. It's like daylight. That'll do, donkey. That'll do.